welcome back to my video YouTube channel. This video is very important for Muco. So basically, I've got my notes here again. But I'm still building my basically I have to say it first. So Rift is a flexible trial architecture. That's the two we're building written in C. That we're gonna be building Gussie Lang in G for gossip, O for Oscar, S for Sarah, I for Indigo, L for language, A for Apple, N for November, G. The gossip networking polyglot architectural language. Written in C, written in Rift. Rift is a flexible translator, R matching. But that's what it is. And then we're trying to build Gussie Lang, Muco OS, Mmuko, M for Mike, U for umbrella, K for kilo, O for Oscar, which means dash OS, GitHub repository on the system. But this video is very important for me to consider because I don't want you guys to mess up. So basically, this is how we're gonna work, live on the constitution. It should work in a way I expect it to, because we're all living beings. But this is for you guys to start to see what I mean. Because councils don't care and I don't care about them, So basically, this is the blueprint I got here, written down. Very torn paper. Okay. So you get the Muco turtles, people that are the children, the one that needs shelling, protecting, the one that needs protecting, not shelling, killing the shelling. And you get Muco dragons, people that actively want to do something. You get Muco butterflies, so you get what? People that are not really sure, but like to go with the flow. And you get Muco dragons, Muco turtles, Muco butterflies. And then you get Muco unity. There's an animal, Muco guinea. Mmuko Parrots, the one that likes to gossip a lot. Mmuko Parrots, I don't know, parrot relate. But that's part of the consensus model. So the most is the consensus model. I don't really want to push this thing. So you get the consensus model. So basically, this is an Muco system, the journal system. So what is an active journal? So basically, you get like in the real world you're journaling, but actually just journaling. When you're journaling, so basically, depending on journaling, you can't capture all information around the world because we're not actually writing down everything on a notepad, like me. So actually, journaling is just the process of trying to do that. But if you're doing that actively, you are journaling and actually you're doing it. So you get diaries, like university diaries, but they're useless because they are journals that you can't really keep asking questions. You don't actually do something with it. So the journals are meant to open your your third eye. I'll call it your third eye because you got one here. That's what it says. It's like the journal for your third eye. So you can get your senses aligned with what you're gonna do. Stop worrying about people's life. Do stuff. But they're basically an online lawsuit system. Because sometimes it's word against word, and I don't like word against word. I never like word against word because you can say your word against my word, which they said to me in case I don't really care. But I go at the evidence I have. Your word against my word. That's what they normally say. But that's the idea. So the idea is to get moneyclaim.org and those things to balance out the lawsuit. But you actually journal, you're actually learning while you're journaling based on the change.org OBINexus_reform, which reform fit for education, because this is ontological education, learn about yourself, me, your identity, me, myself, and I. The framework of subjectivity and to objectivity via lensing. So you're basically gonna learn from the real world while you're journaling, but you're not actually, you have to interact with the world, but you capture all the details because you are journaled it already, and the computer just records you. Like the lensing knows you're there and sees how you interact, where you can play back your memories basically because the system doesn't fragment itself. So you can just say, okay, remember this time I was to the AI system. Basically, you get like 2 AI systems. Everyone gets 2 AI systems. If you're neurotypical, if you're born neurotypical, you get the Muco ID, but you get a U, which stands for U. Basically, get a UAI, or this is the AIU, or the U. U for the change starts with you. That's what I came about. So U. But if you are like the change starts with me, myself and I, you, yourself and I. That's like a new type of people. That's the UAI. But it's AI for new people in the framework of the what they want to do. in the real life. But you know that UA is good enough for them. Based on the six union six matrix. For personal diaries, you get five union five. For real world journaling. So that's the policy there. So you consent to it, give consensus, don't even give consent to it, and you get a consensus trial. You get like the trial. And so basically, you gotta understand the AI for the humans, neurodivergent people are 7 union 7, which is like 7 times 7 human rights, 49 human rights bound, and 7 plus 7, 14, making total 63 human rights to work with it. So it's bound to, if you don't work with anybody, to 63 human rights for yourself until you start working with someone. That has to go. Oh, this is not working. So that's good there. So the system must preserve itself without being fragmenting itself. But you know that's good for each. It gets 8 unit 8, which is 64, and 64 plus 16 is what? 64, 70, 70. 70 human rights, digital rights. But the problem is, you know, 63 human rights is not good enough. So you have to double this for the digital rights. 63 plus 63 will be 6 126 human rights in total. You have using Muco services, and you get another additional 70, 140 human rights if you're autistic. So the idea of this is just to ensure that the equity is working as intended, based on sensory open sense matrix and sparse modeling for activities in the real world. So the thing is like the Muco journals are really important. You are actively documenting your life, trying to give structure and meaning, because that's how problems are meant to start solving from you. In the OBINexus framework, like me. But you know, it doesn't matter what's a YouTube video. You upload a YouTube video over the polyglot Muco system, because you get MM and you get Muco OS, the social OS system. But you know, you get that only one. So you get the journey active writing, Zetocasting. Method. That's slip box. So this means slip. Gaster means box. Slip box. That's like the method you can use to do it. You get your food, water, shelter done already, because you know if you see someone on moneyclaim.org, you're using the Muco system, you're actually using the system, and you check with them directly. So the business can come internationally, you know. But I'm really careful for those. So you put your evidence. It's really all set up for you to forward it to the right service. You use using the web, the polyglottic web API. So you with all of this, you have problems there. So, but how do you solve serious problems? What do you mean? So if you have no food, no water, wash out. Basically, everyone has their own back garden. That back garden is like so 15 acres divided by 3. You get into 3 sections. Directions. 2 sections. We can do 15 divided by 3 is 5, 10, 15. But you get a third of 15 is 5. 5 to 10. Half of 15 is 10. 5 to 10, and you get a half of 15 is 10 miles, and you get 15 miles. So that's how the system works. So you get a UAI, and for neurodivergent, you get what consensus AI. U consensus. Your consensus is needed to proceed. So it gives you more actions. Consensus AI, that's the neurodivergent one. Which one I'm gonna have for the birth certificate. So the birth certificate is oral cells. The oral cells is the birth certificate, but you know you're gonna have some kind of your genetic data imprinted it, based on how you came. Muco dragons, you know, it's gonna be some kind of avatar there for you to be authentic. You know, you get some kind of boring card. That's a lot of security measures, but I'll come off that later. So, video. So it's birth at a glance. It's like a life at a glance, work at a glance. Breathing what I want to do in a puff at a glance. You know, basically, you know what you're doing because you don't actually have to struggle to do it. You just have to open your phone and say, what am I doing today? You know, and then your ear says, yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're gonna have to go to do this. But you know, it's for dreams, everything. You know, you're actually doing something and you're not surviving because you know you get 3 hours in a day, maximum in my framework. That's basically 3 hours of working a day because you know 6 hours in a day, 0 to 12 hours is a day time. So you get 1 to 12 hours at a time. So you get 1 to 12 hours day. But that 6 hours a day is half day. So 3 hours is what you should be working. And that's what the tracking of the shift you're working effectively. So if you're working 3 hours, the sun will go up one way. 3 hours by 3 hours you're done your shift and you don't have to do it. You can do you can do it in 2 months. So basically 2 divided by 3, 2 divided by 2/3 of 3 hours is what? 2/3 of 3, 2 times 3 times 2 divided by 3 is 1. basically 60 minutes, 60 divided by 3 is 30, 3 hours. So 3 hours is 2/3 of 3,000 times 2. Basically, divided by 2, 3 is 60 divided by 3 is 1.5, I believe, hours, and then 1.5 hours times 2 is 3 hours. So 3 hours is a day, half day, that's half, but 2/3 is a half, so it's not half, I don't know. So half hours is like 3 hours a day of 60 minutes. So 60 minutes is 60 minutes is basically, let me try and calculate it now. I don't know, it's not going as intended. Anyway, so you get 2 to 1. So you can, if I start with 1 hour, I have to do the other 2 hours via my break. So you have like a cycle, because we're all human beings. We have like a breathing cycle. So you can have if I'm doing 3 hour shift, but 2 hours basically children buy to one. Basically, what children can have in the policy is 1.5 hours per day to 2 hours. That's the maximum they're allowed to work. No matter how they feel, because people children are very short. So that's basically they're basically allowed to work 1 hour a day. In my framework, because we're constitution, we're not a company. 1 hour a day to 2 hours maximum, because that's children are flexible. They can work for 5 minutes. And be fine with it. But if they say 5 minutes or more, it's fine. I really appreciate it. But kids are not allowed to work more than 2 hours a day. And you guys want to work over 2 hours over time, really care shit. But you must work. You must not complain. You're not doing your job because you're under spot. Most guys work for everyone. So I don't want this breaking. So the policy is everyone should be working. Like for me, I'm computer science. Working in a sector. So a sector is like health and social care, design, because it means something is moving forward. It's not like fragmented. But everything that's not a sector is bound to theory. But I don't really care. T3A, T3B, T3, only theoretical frameworks. But if you guys can bring into a sector, it's fine. I'm happy with it. Whether you have like a health and social care and design technology as one unit sector is not really my problem. But let's make it a 3x3 sector, 2x2 sector for now. Because you get a health and social care is one sector, and design technology, that's one sector for neurodivergent and people. So 2x2. 2 sectors per constitution, per compound and complex, non-housing. So housing is free. The constitution, but you're going to go make sure housing is free. Housing is free because you are living there, you're working there, and you should be free because you're doing something there. So the idea is to have the farms be in your house, so but it's not in your house. You like in some kind of place you can always get it, some kind of silo, but you don't go outside to get it. You get basically you have the greenery. Some places accessible, like a green farm, like some kind of, where you plant all the food. But that basically plant all the foods in that conservatory. But the conservatory is dirt. It's basically a low garden. But you only get rain because it's all glass and it's like a chamber for food. So the food naturally grows there. That's the idea. You don't have to go outside to get a food because you can sit in the garden and see where you are already, and you just look at the conservatory. You can see all the food, all the nature around it. You can get the animals and the frog coming, but they can go as well because they get the rains, everything. So you can get them and they are happy there. But they come and they stay. You're happy. There's nothing you can get wrong because that's the idea. You don't need fungi growing there. You just want the animals to benefit from the ecosystem you're building, so you can grow it out indefinitely. That's the idea of this food. If the animals are not there, the foxes are not doing it, then it's not. We are neglecting our environment. So we are trying to build around us, not on the money. Our biological, so we don't have to work too hard to farm. Dogs, cats, all of that are good. So it's like we call it greenery. So the greenery must ensure that food, there's some kind of fruit, vegetation there, so you can always cook it. What is spaghetti? Basically the vegetable enforcing for now is more of it's more like ground things that grow in the ground, such as yam. Yam, like things that don't grow on trees, don't grow because they stay on the ground, they grow into the ground, they grow like tomatoes. Those are fruits. You get other ones. You get carrots. All the fruits that grow in the ground, all the vegetables grow in the ground. So salad goes in the ground, cabbage, all of that. Flower pots, seeding, everything is in the ground. So you can just pick them up easily without having to go too far to cook them. That's the idea. You go to the kitchen. You get some place you can breed. Some place you can you can because usually it doesn't you don't go to shops for anything really. You go to your conservatory. So everyone has a one conservatory minimum in the constitution. Basically, food should never be a problem with one conservatory. But you know, I don't trust you guys, so I try to make it two. So you get like because so we have a true constitution. Don't anybody see any of this system. You get let me think about it now. So you get one conservatory. Well, that means one. So you get two sources of food. If you get one conservatory, you get what? One so everyone gets one conservatory as a policy. You have to get other things to find a way to get food. But you get a garden, so the garden should be able to do it too. So you get a conservatory and a garden in your compound, in the house felicity. For how to get a garden, one conservatory for storing food for processed food. I mean, storing processed food. Because that's the conservatory meant to process food, and the garden where you can use to process food in case anything else. So it's more of a processing food for two of us. So that's the policy for the housing. So that this is double to the complex. So the complex is sustain more people. So double two to one complex. That'd be four of these two types to one compound and four to for one complex. Like you know, a large group of people. Muco diaries, pressure, informal. So the thing I'm saying is the diaries there. So you get the diaries there, your personal diaries. But the person you have to basically every diary entry you make, you just speak to the AI. Muko, hey you, can you write down the notes for me, to do this at this time at this date. Create a diary entry for November. Basically, the AI system is you, but you know it's you. Anything you say goes in that system. But the Muco or consensual AI, you consensual, like a UC or CU, consensual AI gives you trials. So basically, you can put anything down you want. But it's hard for people to unlock it because you know they need more security measures on it. That's the vision for neurodivergent people. Because you know you're autistic and everything. I don't like that. So diaries are there, public and exposed, and you know the diaries allows you to write down anything you want based on consensus. But you know you get basically for the diaries you get two public keys, two private keys to your account automatically. Those are the journals, but it just allows you to ask for it. So those are journals because you know when you try to do something, you get two private keys, and then you get two public keys when you actually actively on the task and not private. So it's like a two ways. So you get two public keys to one private key. You own a private key if you're doing journaling or work and you're doing ontological research, and then you get two private keys. You get two public keys, two private keys if you are just diarying. So that's like a one-to-one program because you know you can always recover your data at some point of the stage you're working on. So the idea of this is to ensure that there's no bridge between what is essential or not via what is meant to be done. Basically, how I think must be resumed open sense bound. Example. Say I want to log in. I open my I go on my phone and I go to my consist AI. I get a trial. Then speak to my AI. I'm really in the mood for some kind of vibing or sex or something. And then it says, oh yes, I'm gonna try to find you some kind of event you can do today. At the ASS, I'm gonna find I did, and then you say I'm gonna try to do it. But can you tell me another event? Because I don't think I'll go to that event. So you can have two ways to do it. So that's a consensus. You know, you don't stick with one thing. You have two ways, and that's the policy of the. Because you know, you guys are diaries. You know we can do what you want. So you have at least one way you want to do it. You know, you're sure about it. Hopefully, you're sure. But it's two ways minimum for everyone. So you know that's consensus. You know, there's this consistent on this. So you get private diary. You get the diaries which are to do doing that, but they're gated. Gating is just cognitive, your cognitive form. You just basically when you get something, you're trying to get it done, but you're trying to get it in a way structured, strong information. So, gating can be just example. If you see like the letter A, letter A is a character, but you know if you have like a squiggly A. You know, that squiggly A is a valid A, but you can't see it an A because it seems like it's missing some kind of context. You know, you look like a squiggle that goes up and down, but it's not an A. So it's either an A or C or D or letter, some kind of French dot, trois, which is French equivalent for 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. Like, so, you know, you don't understand, you have to relay that correctly. So basically, taking the flexibility into the system and which sure there's no rigidity of via what is interpreted. To make sure, so basically it's a mirror to yourself. the U consensual AI. You need consensus to do in and out, but the consensus is really for security measures. 'Cause you can have diaries too. So the diaries are active journals, and the consensus are active journals. They are meant to what you get to give you a whole picture. When you have a picture of your phone and you want to upload it, and the AI pulls it, and you forget it, you dump it. Basically, you're gonna have a living architecture for breeding in the constitution. Breeding is the human right, so all the breeding laws are there to protect you. Basically, 3 human has extra for that. Bipolar people, 8 unit 8 mapping. Should I say anything else? No. Coordinates, you get like where you can get set up a coordinate. Basically, a coordinate, a slip box, a Kanban given or something that's structured in your way. It looks like you and says, "Oh yeah, you're gonna do it." Basically, you use AI to formulate a lot of things. But AI is actively at your fingertips, so you are not really bound by any rules. Which brings me to the next point. My next point, which is very important to me, the breathing cycle. So the breathing cycle is like I work, I breathe, I work, and I work, and I work. I can breathe again. So it's like a long pause. So if you work twice, do double the task. You're prone to double the break. Half the break. It works like 30 minutes break, so you don't overexert yourself and you don't get into fatigue. What's that? You don't forget why you started your work. You know what I'm saying? That's the idea. So basically, the cornea notes are just like this kind of weight. So I can't see myself here. So it's like the picture I made. So let me just see what I can do. So if you can see this notes, I made it. This one's torn, but I just have to show it because I'm building my future again. But I have to come back on the consensus thing because I don't trust you guys with consensus too. So so you get it. So this one's here. I think you guys can see it. So the thing I'll say is the slip box is like so one more thing, guys. So basically you have consensus for the UI hardware too. For example, you ask the computer permission. The project gives you permission to do that thing. You meant to do like authenticating. That's permission. You just get authenticate. That is stage 1 trial. Stage 2 trial is like consent. Do I need consent to do this thing? Like send this email in a PDF format to the moneyclaim.gov.uk over Muco OS so I can file my lawsuit. Yes, you have automatic consent to do that. But consent has to be sorted by IOTA states, dual IOTA states, based on the model of governance, which is 7 units. It gives you automatic right to do yes. But consent is like the arbitrary one because if you want to do something, you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. So you get the default behavior pattern for that. Now consensus model. So if I'm suing someone, I sue them, I get the money. But I can just sue them. Say basically get a hardware implementation of it. So you have like say you have a fingerprint scanner, and I put my finger there. My fingerprint give me consensus, so that's not good enough. So if I put my fingerprint, give consensus, but there's a way I put my fingerprint in. So I can take my fingerprint and put like a little feeling sensor, and when I push that sensor, will feel my pressure, and the pressure is like the texture I feel. Because it's not layer security, but it's all sensors. So the computer notices kind of senses, feel some kind of senses of your skin, but that senses is unique to you, your genetic trait. So that's the idea there. So the consensus has to be bridging the whatever you are feeling. Not emotionally, of course, but however you touch that thing, it's like we have walking cycles that I think you can see, look at you by your work, your name, your age, how you work. By walking, the same thing here, I'm trying to build here if I did. So if I look at the camera fanning, that's my password, because I have a funny way of looking at it, like a funny smile, a gap teeth, and I have a kind of meme way. So the games have the senses preserved through the framework itself, so there's no problem in the long run of this, and that's the idea behind the consensus model. So, for example, again, one really proud of it, because if I'm working on something and I claim it's theft, I can't prove it's theft because there's some kind of texture the fingerprint had that the texture they can't verify it through me, because the texture of the fingerprint is not rigid, it's like a bumpy, and the bumpy are deliberately put there because you touch it, you don't even know, you basically you have to put that sensors on, because for example you have a fingerprint scanner. No fingerprint scanner is just one. If I want to scan this type of fingerprint, but if I want to allow something, I turn on the sensors for open sense, union 7x7 and 7 or 8x8, so feel it. So if I do 8x8, it's like saliva saying. like a valve of saliva, but that's the idea. So I put like saliva, I get the information, and then that's a valve. That valve is like set. But if I do 777, I just have some kind of bumps, and those bumps measure the pressure and the density of my finger, so you can see what it matches some the thing I already set to it. So that's basically, you can have a fingerprint. Basically, anybody can cut your finger off and get your consensus, but you know you don't want that. So you want some kind of pressure mechanic or some kind of thing to trigger the consistency or business 777. What you know. What you were saying, how you want to relay, because this is bound by that. So the idea of this is to ensure that the 3 to 1 matrix shows positivity. Anyway, so the journal is permission bound, and the consensus is that you are so the food is not obsession. So the idea is of the conservatory to sustain you for all the food and the water you need. So you can have the fishes there, anything, but the fishes are like, I'm thinking of a utopian vision where you can the cat can have the fishes because the fat cats know to eat it, because we do in that because we have like a fish pond, but fish pond is just containing fishes and the fish content is cleaned out. So you don't want to clean out everything every day. You want to just get a catfish and just cook it and eat it. But you cut some cat seeds into the fish tank, and the fish tank will go to the fish algae. Go to know how to go up the reservoir to get the nutrients, and then you can eat the fish because they're more nutrient, and it can be there. There's waterfowl and everything. So it's not really about the animals. It's about having some kind of a clean environment to practice agriculture. No, some heard of pros agriculture, and agriculture will sustain you because you are doing the work, not anywhere else. And you're paying tax for it. Basically, it's free of charge because you are building your own foundation for how you wanna eat. So each I'm gonna eat pepper soup, gari. I cook it myself. I do them, but I definitely go to shop to do that because it's just right there in my garden. Like I'm making videos on it and just teach how to make it in a garden or in the conservatory. I don't have to go anywhere else in the world together because it's just right in my back garden. That's why the conservatory exists. And the conservatory, you can have your baby in the conservatory section. You have a children's section